Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Happy Friday, everybody. Hope your day and your week have gone well so far. TGI Friday. The weekend is finally here, and we are feeling really good here at the Guy Boston Sports YouTube channel. We got a new day with us, which of course means a new MLB Player Prop video to share with you guys. But first, as always, people, make sure hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. We are red hot here right now on the MLB Player Prop video series, and you do not want to miss any new videos, so make sure, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button down below. Join the Guy Boston Sports community. We have so much great content between myself and Evan. Right now, like I said, our MLB Player Prop video series, we have been cashing, baby. And with that being said, let's just dive into the recap of yesterday. Another phenomenal day for us here on the channel. Again, I've had some bad luck here. I've given out, well, bad luck in the sense that I'll be giving out like 6 props every day, and every single day, one of the 6 props gets voided because a player's not in the lineup. I do try to keep an eye on it, and it's hard to tell sometimes who's going to play and who's not. But of the 5 player props that were graded, we went 4-1, and we did kind of get screwed over. The only miss we had yesterday was the Zach Gallen over 5.5 strikeouts. The guy legit threw 6 pitches and then got hurt and got out of the game. Unfortunately, the sportsbooks were not voiding that, so it does count as a loss on our record, unfortunately, which is kind of bullshit if you ask me, but it is what it is. What are you going to do? If you bet the under, you guys are happy today, but we obviously took the over, so that's that. But we did hit 4 of the 5 bets. Again, we had a really solid day across the board yesterday. We have been feeling really good. We are now 12-3 this week. Coming into today's video, 12-3. We have been making some big time bucks here on the channel. And this isn't new, guys. If you go ahead and look at the season so far, and again, I know we took that long break, so the record, not as many props as you'd like to see, but 44-28 record so far this year. That's our MLB Player Prop record on the video series this season so far. 44-28. We've been cashing all year long. A really great season, a really good streak we're on right now. So let's see if we can keep it going today. We've got 7 props for a nice big MLB slate. But of course, I got to celebrate a little bit before we dive into today's video. So I got to break out the money gun. Yes, so the money has been flowing. How to bring out the money chain today. So we're feeling good, guys. Let's carry this momentum. Let's keep the good vibes rolling. Let's see how long we can continue this hot streak for. Like I said, 7 props today, 12-3 run this week, 44-28 on the year. Let's cash, excuse my language, some motherfucking bets. Let's go, people. You know what, guys? I keep saying we're going to go. One last thing. You know what? Because I'm feeling really good right now. I'm going to do a little giveaway. Last day of the month. Let's do a little giveaway here. Comment Fuego down below in the comments. I am embarrassed to say I had to go look and see. I had to pause the video and see how Fuego is spelled. F-U-E-G-O. Comment Fuego down below because we have been en fuego. El Fuego, en fuego. I don't speak Spanish. We've been Fuego. We've been on fire here. Comment Fuego down below in the comment section for a chance to be selected to win a free Guy Boston Sports t-shirts. All you got to do, comment Fuego, and we'll go ahead and get someone a lucky commenter a t-shirt because we've been really hot. I got to reward you guys for watching, for supporting. It motivates me to keep going, and it motivates me to pick you guys some winners. So comment Fuego down below. All that aside, let's now finally dive into today's video. Jumping right into the Outlier screen, guys. Shout out Outlier, the sponsor of our Player Prop series. Link in our description below. You get a 7-day free trial to check it out for yourself. You guys know Outlier if you watch my videos. If you're new here, all the stats, all the data you're going to see here in the video, they're provided by Outlier, and you guys can obviously subscribe and become a member of Outlier and get all this data and way more for yourself. Link down below, 7-day free trial. You're not going to be disappointed. Check it out. Okay, guys, our first of 7 player props in today's slate. We're going Tigers, Red Sox, 7:10 p.m. first pitch. We're going Spencer Torkelson of the Tigers under 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs. We're getting this for -135 on DraftKings, but available on Underdog for -120 and BetMGM for -135. Dad is looking very, very strong here. He's cashed this in 8 of his last 10 games. You have a couple of outliers there. He had a really big game there versus Toronto on May 26th. But overall, 8 of his last 10 games, he's averaging 1.1 HRRs per game over the last 10 games. Again, that's because, of course, he had the 7 there. and the 4 there, so those obviously skew the numbers a little higher. But Spencer Torkelson has been cashing this under all year long. A 60% hit rate, 32 out of 53 games this year. He has cashed the under, averaging 1.58 HRRs per game. So pretty solid data on the year so far. And if we scroll down to these splits down below, it's still pretty good. Not bad at all. Spencer Torkelson versus Tanner Houck since 2018 has had three plate appearances. He's gotten 1 hit and 1 RBI, batting .500 off of Tanner Houck. So a very small sample size to go off of there. If we go look at the overall splits this year, Spencer Torkelson, 205 batting average on the season. That does, however, drop to 199. A slight drop, but a drop nonetheless. A 199 average versus right-handed pitchers this year. And on the Tanner Houck side of things, you look at his ERA this year, 1.90 versus overall, 3.16 versus right-handed batters. That's a little alarming, but what I'm more focused on here is the batting average allowed. 215 on the year, just 222. It is a slight increase, but still pretty good. 222 batting average allowed against right-handed batters. You do see the data does increase across the board, but there's slight increases. Overall, Tanner Houck's having an incredible year, a borderline Cy Young qualifying season. And, I think that continues tonight. Spencer Torkelson's not had the best of seasons. Again, 199 batting average versus right-handed pitchers. It's a solid matchup. It's a line that Torkelson's been cashing all year long. So a solid first prop for today's slate. And speaking of Tanner Houck, sticking with this slate here, with Red Sox Tigers, we're going to go Tanner Houck over 5.5 strikeouts. Now, the line has jumped. When I first got it, it was at -145. Since I started recording, it's jumped now. But I still think, like I did yesterday with the Kevin Pillar bet, if you're looking for an MLB prop to throw in a parlay or something, even at -160 on DraftKings, -142 on FanDuel, whatever way you want to do it, I know it's higher up on the odds list, but still a solid bet overall to go ahead and take. He has cashed it in 5 of his last 10 games, averaging 5.9 strikeouts per game. And on the year so far for Tanner Houck, a 55% hit rate. 6 out of 11 games this season, he has cashed the over, averaging 6.27 strikeouts per game. And if we go ahead and reference the MLB dashboard, again, this is the dashboard that Ev creates and updates daily. In order to access the dashboard, you have to be a Guy Boston Sports member. It's $2.99 a month, and you get to join. You get access to and he does this for every single game. There's a ton of stuff here. It's a great pairing tool with Outlier. To use Outlier and this together, it's a home run, no pun intended. But looking at this here, you see Tanner Houck across the board. Really good numbers. His strikeout rate this season, 24.4% overall. This is pretty good. It does jump to 30.9% versus right-handed hitters, which is even better. So really solid data there for Houck. And if we go over to the right side of the screen here, take a look at the batting numbers over the last 30 days for these two teams. Of course, we're more interested here in the Detroit side of things. And it's not the best, but you look at their strikeout rate, they are bottom half in the league, a 22.8 strikeout percentage over the last 30 days, again, 17th in Major League Baseball. So, it's a pretty solid matchup overall. Of course, we'd like to see that more in the red zone normally, but 22.8% is a pretty high number. Again, it's the bottom half of the league versus right-handed pitchers, 23.4%. On the road, 23.9%. So, across the board, their strikeout rate is not very good, which obviously is good for us. So, a solid prop here for Tanner Houck. All right, guys, our third prop for today's slate, we're switching over to Nationals Guardians, 7:10 p.m. first pitch. We're going David Fry here, over 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs. We're getting this for -125 on DraftKings, but it's also available on Prize Picks, -119, Underdog -120, and BetMGM -125. Of course, always shop around for odds, guys, and see where you can find some better ones. The data on this one is absolutely fantastic. 9 of his last 10 games, he has cashed the over, averaging 3.8 HRRs per game. You see that big game versus Colorado here just a couple of days ago. He's been playing very well of late. And even when you go ahead and search his data to the last 20 games, 14 of his last 20 games, he has cashed the over. It's a 70% hit rate, averaging 2.75 HRRs per game. So he's been playing very well this season for Cleveland. And in 2024 so far, again, the entire season view now, 23 out of 39 games he's cashed the over. It's a 59% hit rate, averaging 2.21 HRRs per game. You see, overall in the year, a really good number, but definitely over the last 10, 15, 20 games, he's really started to heat up. So not only is the season data very strong and the pattern looks really good, the splits are even better here. You look at Fry this year, 353 batting average, really good, but versus left-handed pitchers, smaller sample size, 64 plate appearances, but still enough of a sample size to get a good image here. 419 batting average versus left-handed pitchers, that's incredibly, incredibly good. And looking at the Patrick Corbin side of things, yeah, it's not 6.12 ERA this year. Now, it does improve versus right-handed batters to 5.55. That's still not very good at all. A 5.55 ERA is not that good. And the batting average allowed, it literally is 322 to 323. It's the same, but the point being, a 323 batting average allowed this year, that's pretty bad. But again, good for us. See his home runs per 9, 1.5. His OBA, 396, which is, I don't know why it shows green. It's literally the exact same number. But the point being that Patrick Corbin not pitching very well this year. And again, referring back to the dashboard here, and this just kind of reiterates how bad Patrick Corbin has been this season. Again, slightly better versus right-handed hitters, but overall, not very good at all. A lot of red on that chart. And the other thing to always look at here, guys, is also the bullpen marks. And although Washington's bullpen is better, they are actually top 10 ERA, middle of the road in WHIP. Overall, the point being, this is a solid matchup for David Fry. I think it's a pretty good spot for him to bet. All right, guys, cruising right along here. Our fourth prop in today's slate. We're going Rangers-Marlins, 7:10 p.m. first pitch. We're going Corey Seager here, over 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs. It's available on DraftKings and BetMGM, both of them for -150. Again, I know -150 a little higher up, but if you're parlaying it, even if you bet it straight up, it's a really solid spot. Again, 9 of his last 10 games, 9 consecutive hits for Corey Seager here. Guy has been red hot of late, and we're going to see if we can keep riding that trend for a little while longer before it eventually fails. But even if you stretch the data to his last 20 games, again, just like the David Fry prop, the last one, even when you stretch that data out, it's still solid. Not as strong, but still really solid. 70% hit rate over his last 20 games, 14 out of 20. An average of 2.85 HRRs per game. You look at 2024 so far, a 53% hit rate for Corey Seager. 27 out of 51 games, averaging 2.1 HRRs per game. So on the year so far, really solid data. And look at the head-to-head data. Each of the last 2 times he's faced off with the Miami Marlins, both of those being last season, he did cash this over. And of course, guys, scrolling down to the splits down below, Corey Seager this year, 260 batting average overall, but versus right-handed pitchers, it does jump up to 294, which is pretty good. And looking at Sanchez from Miami, a 6.25 ERA, kind of similar to the Patrick Corbin one, right? His numbers are better versus left-handed batters here. So he goes from 6.25 to 5.02. His batting average allowed goes from 305 to 271. There is improvement, but that's still not good. A 271 batting average allowed versus left-handed batters is still not good. A 5.02 ERA, still not good. So it's still a solid matchup for us. And again, referring back to the MLB dashboard, there's Sixto Sanchez. The numbers are, again, versus left-handed hitters. There's the data. His batting average allowed slightly better overall, again, at 305. The point being, though, that across the board, pretty bad numbers there for Sixto Sanchez. And looking at the bullpen marks for Miami, it doesn't get much better. They are bottom 10 in both ERA and in WHIP. So a really solid spot there for Corey Seager, who's been red hot of late. All right, guys, our fifth prop of today's slate. We're moving right along here, guys, to Rays Orioles, 7:05 p.m. first pitch. We're going Randy Arozarena, under 1.5 HRRs, hits, runs, RBIs. -145 on DraftKings, also available BetMGM -145, and on Underdog for -155. Again, data is looking pretty good here. 8 of his last 10 games, he has cashed the under here. He did hit the over last night versus Oakland. He had 1 run and 1 RBI there. Last 20 games, still solid. 65% hit rate on this under, averaging 1.55 HRRs per game. That's obviously skewed because he had that big game versus the Yankees back on May 11th. But overall in the year, really solid data. You see a 62% hit rate on the season for Randy Arozarena. Out of 55 games played, he's cashed it in 34, an average of 1.38 HRRs per game. A couple of big outliers, of course, in there. And look at the head-to-head data. 9 of the last 13 times he's faced off with the Baltimore Orioles, he has cashed this under, an average of 1.46 HRRs per game. And again, if you look at the splits down below, it paints a pretty good picture for us here. Randy Arozarena is having a rough year for Tampa Bay, batting 159 this season. Now, the number versus right-handed pitchers, a slight increase to 166, but I don't have to tell you guys, if you guys know anything about baseball, 166, not a very good batting average at all. Looking for Suarez, the pitcher for the Orioles here. Not bad data. You see, actually having a really good season. I said not bad. Guy's having a fucking all-star caliber season. Sorry for swearing. Sorry for cussing. 1.53 ERA, 192 batting average allowed. That number versus right-handed batters, the ERA drops slightly and the batting average does increase slightly. The moral of the story being, he's having an incredible season. He's pitching incredibly well. Randy Arozarena, not so much. And again, referring to the dashboard, guys, Albert Suarez having an incredible season. This kind of just reiterates what we just talked about here. But also, like I said, I like to look at the bullpen numbers. You look at Baltimore, about middle of the road, ERA rise 3.81. That's 15th in Major League Baseball, middle of the road. Their WHIP, however, is top 5 in the league. So, overall, a really solid spot here. I don't think Arozarena is doing much damage at all versus this Orioles team. All right, guys, almost done here. Our 6th prop in today's slate. We're going to the A's-Braves game, 7:20 p.m. first pitch. We're going Marcell Ozuna of the Atlanta Braves, over 1.5 total bases against for minus. You get it for minus 120 on FanDuel, minus 120 Underdog. Also available on DraftKings for minus 135 and Caesars for minus 142. Now, unlike almost every prop I've shown you today, the data at first glance is not fantastic. You're going to see here just 4 of his last 10 games has he actually cashed this over. And so far in 2024, just a 43% hit rate, 23 out of 54 games he's cashed the over. He is averaging 2.24 total bases per game, but he's had some really big games that definitely skew the numbers a little bit. This is all about matchup, though, here, guys. Now, Ozuna versus Sears, just 2 plate appearances since 2018. He's done a whole lot of nothing. But again, such a small sample size. 2 plate appearances, not a lot to go off of there. But looking at the splits down below, it's pretty promising. Marcell Ozuna this year is batting .312 versus left-handed pitchers. That does increase to .353, which is really good. His BABIP goes from .343 to .441. The alarming thing here, extra base hit percentage just dropped from 43.5% overall to 33.3% versus left-handed pitchers, which is a little bit alarming. But overall, still really, really good. And Sears, 3.88 ERA this year, not half bad, but versus right-handed batters, it does increase to 4.06. His batting average allowed goes from 226 to 241. Slugging percentage, 416 overall, jumps to 446. And his extra base hit percentage goes from 46 to 47.5. A slight increase, but still, that extra base hit percentage in general is pretty high for Sears. Ozuna's a power hitter here. I think in this kind of a matchup where you have a pitcher who gives up a lot of, extra base hit percentage is high, slugging percentage is pretty high, batting average is 240 versus, right-handed batters. I do think it's a really solid spot here for Ozuna to cash this over. All right, guys, in our 7th and final prop for today's slate, taking a swing for the fences, pun intended. We're going to the Padres-Royals game, 8:10 p.m. first pitch. We're going Jackson Merrill, over 1.5 total bases for plus 125 on DraftKings. Also available on Caesars for plus 123, FanDuel plus 120, and Underdog plus 120. Yeah, we're taking a little bit of risk here on a plus money play, but it's a plus money play that I like a lot. Again, like the last bet, the data is not very good. You see 0 out of 10 his last 10 games. In 2024 so far, just a 31% hit rate for Jackson Merrill in this over 17 out of 54 games, averaging 1.2 total bases per game. Now, down below, they're only showing the splits here for Michael Wacha, and obviously, we have a really, really strong matchup here. Michael Wacha this year, a 4.31 ERA overall, which is not great, but versus left-handed batters, and it's a pretty big sample size, too, with 122 batters faced, it's really bad. 7.39 ERA, a 284 batting average allowed, 486 slugging percentage, 41.9% extra base hit percentage. Moral of the story, Michael Wacha really struggling this year for San Diego against left-handed batters. And I do think that fares well, obviously, for Jackson Merrill, who, spoiler alert, is a left-handed batter. And although Jackson Merrill's cover rate might look low, he's actually having a really solid year here for the Padres. He's batting .276 on the year with 3 home runs, which obviously he's not much of a power hitter. He's getting on base consistently. He's hitting really, really well. It's just he's not getting a lot of extra base hits, which is why the total bases, or multi-hits games for that matter, which is why the the total bases numbers are not high. Looking at his splits, though, versus right-handed pitchers, it's pretty good. He's actually batting even better. He's batting .289 versus right-handed pitchers this year. And to narrow that down even further, this is all coming from Baseball Reference, a really good page to utilize for stats. Versus right-handed starters this year, he's batting .283 with a .331 OBP. So versus right-handed pitchers in general, he's hitting very well, but versus right-handed starters in particular, like Michael Wacha, a .283 batting average. And again, the extra base hits aren't really coming there. He's only hit 4 doubles all year long, 1 triple, 3 home runs, right? Not a lot of extra base hits going on, not a lot of multi-hit games, but I do think this is a good spot for Jackson Merrill to have a day. It's not like he hasn't cashed this at all this year. Again, 17 out of 54 games he's cashed this, so he can cash this. It hasn't been happening a lot, but he can have big games. I think he's due for a big one here. I really like the spot here for Jackson Merrill. All right, guys, so there are all 7 of our picks. Fingers crossed that actually all 7 happen this time and none of them get voided out. Or if they do get voided out, hopefully it's like a Zach Gallen type. I still can't believe they didn't void that yesterday. It's such bullshit. But there's our 7 picks. That picks link will be down below in the description. You click that and it'll take you right to this page where you can go ahead and just add the bet slip, or if you just want to follow along and input them manually and just follow, whatever you want to do. But it will take you to this page right here. Guys, that is it for me today. Thank you very much, as always, for watching. One more time, make sure hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. Make sure to comment Fuego down below for a chance to be selected for a free Guy Boston Sports t-shirt. Or Fade Me t-shirt, I should say. I will reveal the winner in tomorrow's video. That's it for me today, guys. Thank you very much, as always, for watching. Enjoy your Friday. Enjoy the start of the weekend. Make smart choices, but have fun, too. Until tomorrow, I hope we're all winners. Have a good one, guys.